Hello there. Hey, hey, can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. And if you can, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to hit the like button as you come in. Okay, you can hear me. Great. Cool. Welcome. We were supposed to go live yesterday, but um a lot of things came up, so I figured I would make it up today. So we normally don't go live on Thursday. We go live on Mondays and Wednesdays, but I figured we go live today and have a great conversation about one of the questions I get a lot. And so the last couple of times I always forget to answer the topic of the day. So just kind of remind me about halfway through. I'm going to make sure I give you my thoughts on the topic of the day, but welcome. Let me know where you're calling from. I'm going to give a shout out to people. Shout out to Malik, who's in Houston, Whitney. Hey, hey, what's going on? We got Dion from Oregon, and we got Lisa in Denver. So shout out to you wherever you're tuning in from today. It's amazing to have you here tonight. We're going to have a great conversation. I'm here to answer whatever questions you might have about your situation, about your breakup. Be sure to start to throw your questions into the chat. And shout out to you wherever you're calling from. It's truly a blessing to have you guys here to join me tonight from Australia, North Carolina, Maryland, Las Vegas, wherever you're calling from, man. It's awesome. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Just ground rules for the new people. If this is your first time joining and being on a live, so I saw Charlene. Charlene, this is your first time. So the way it works is that you just put your question that you may have or that you're struggling with or that you need help with, put it in the comment section right now. Okay. I what I do is I'm going to answer the questions in chronological order. So whoever asks the question first, that's who I'm going to answer first. The point is, after enough time, when there's a lot of people here, it's going to be difficult for me to get to every question. So the sooner you put your question in, the better. Now that being said, I do prioritize super chat donations or super chat questions first. So if you're coming in and you don't have a ton of time and you can't sit through all of the other questions and you want me to answer your questions first, send a super chat with your question, whatever your question may be, put it in there and I will answer the super chat because I appreciate the support. Okay. It's because of you, it's because of the people who watch the videos, who like every videos. Like some people have gotten their ex back, but you guys still like every video, and I appreciate it. The people that share the content with other people, I appreciate it. Okay. So it's because of your support that I'm able to sit here for an hour and answer questions. Okay, so it truly means a lot to me. I've been able to connect with a ton of people. So thank you. All right. So without further ado, let's just jump into the questions. Let's see here. The first question is from uh Jerry. You need to rewrite your question. You just said I haven't heard from my ex narcissist, and it's been what? Incomplete question. And then we got Jay says, is it bad to break no contact 17 days to reach out to an ex that was injured and you want to see if they're okay? Well, that's one of those where I would like to get more details. I mean, 'cause you're not supposed to be, mean or cruel, right? But I'm curious about the extent of like what exactly happened and how you found out, okay? And how the breakup conversation went. So that one I'm on the fence on because you do want to be a caring person, and if this person like got into a car crash and in a hospital bed, definitely you would reach out in a situation like that. But just to check on them because That's a kind thing to do, but yeah. So that one, there's just there's a lot more questions. So if you really want to talk about it, you can book a call. We can talk about that one. All right. Let's see here. Okay, the next question is from Dion. Says 90 days, no contact with her, have not seen her or anything. We live an hour away. She is very stubborn. Does it take longer for a stubborn ex to go through the stages? Yeah, I mean, people tend to be stubborn. Um, so yeah, stubborn people are going to hold out for as long as they can. So that does happen, but a lot of times, if they miss you enough, they'll still get to a point where they reach out. You just got to be patient. You got to outwait her. You got to be more patient than her. 90 days is not a short amount of time, but it's not the longest amount of time I've seen exes come back. So, regardless of, whatever the case may be, if she dumped you, you need to hold out for as long as possible. All right, push it out to forever. Okay, that's what I would do. So I wouldn't reach out still. Hope that answers your question. I'm starting to want to play dirty on my ex. What does that mean? What do you mean? Malik says, if my ex told me she can't be with me, if she can't trust me, can there be any reconciliation? How can I show her she can trust me if we're in no contact? Well, you're not trying to prove anything to your ex at this point. So I'm going to assume here that you broke the trust of your ex at some point in the relationship. And obviously, that's not a good thing because without trust, you can't really build anything. Trust has to be the foundation. So I'm going to assume that you actually did do something to break the trust. So all you can do in that situation is that when they dump you at the time of the breakup, you own the mistakes. You apologize for breaching the trust and tell them that you don't make excuses for flaws, right? So if you cheated, don't say, "Oh, well, I cheated because." You own it. You say, "You know what? I did this and I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hurt you." Like you own it. But if she's like, "No, I can't. I don't trust you," then you let go. So you're still in no contact. You can't prove anything to your ex until she's interested in working on things. So you're not going to keep on calling and texting and saying I've changed because right now she has walked away from the negotiation. Okay? Think about it like you're going to buy a car. You want to sell it for 20,000. She's like, "No, it's 12," and she walked away. Well, you can't keep calling and say, "Hey, hey." No, you got to wait for her to come back to the negotiation table, even if you made a mistake. As long as you took ownership and you apologize for your mistakes in the relationship. Okay. And then if she gets over it, then you can fix things down the line. Okay. All right. Anthony says, "Hey, coach, is no contact working if it's been 61 days and she still hasn't contacted me? She still looks at my IG stories. I know you said it doesn't matter unless they contact you. What should I do?" Nothing. There's nothing to do. That's probably one of the most popular questions I get. What should I do? Nothing. Okay. There's got to be mutual interest. Okay. It takes two to make a relationship work. And if she's not putting in any effort and she's just watching your stories, so there's some interest. She's curious about you, but she just doesn't miss you enough yet. And that's fine. So whether it's 61 days or 90 days, it hasn't been long enough because she's not reaching out. Okay. So be patient. Rick says, he left flowers outside my car today and I broke the no contact rule. I feel dumb. I asked him what were the flowers for. Well, what did he say? He just left flowers and didn't leave a note. Like, how did the conversation go? What exactly did he say? I'm curious because if he was leaving flowers, that shows some interest. So, um, he should have wanted to do something with that. But anyway, if you haven't already, be sure to like the stream. Thank you. I appreciate all the support, the likes, the comments, and even those that watch the videos, the full videos, and you like those and you share it with people. Thank you. It really does mean a lot, and I want you to know I don't take that for granted. If you want to ask a question, be sure to drop it in the chat right now so I can get to your question. I will answer as many questions as possible. If you want to skip the line, all right, because we're going in order. If you want to skip the line or you want to make a donation, send a super chat. Okay, I prioritize the super chat questions first. Okay, thank you all for your support, for the questions, and for hanging out wherever you're calling from. Okay, so Charlene says, went no contact for 2 weeks. Ex left second time and I allowed him back. Did good for about a month and I called him out on his mess and he left again and blocked me again. This will be the third time. Well, it sounds to me like you're way more invested and way more interested in the relationship than he is. So he dumps you, he walks, he comes back, and you just give him the relationship so easily. And I say that all the time because I've coached multiple people. When your ex comes back, it's a very crucial time, and you need to be behaving like they need to earn you back as well. Don't be so eager to say, hey, here's my heart, trample on it. Okay. Don't give your ex your love so easily. Let them work for it, or else they'll never truly value it. They'll dump you whenever they feel like, because they fully expect that if they come back again, you will accept them. So you got to give the impression like you're evaluating them as well. This shouldn't be so easy for your ex to get the relationship. Okay? So be very cautious about that. All right, let's see here. Jackson. My ex told me she wanted to focus on study and herself. Now she's back with her toxic ex. What should I do? Nothing. I'm focusing on me, but can't seem to get her out of my head. Well, that's normal. That's going to happen. But you got to understand, you can't control your ex, who she dates, or what she wants to do. Right? You can call the other ex toxic or whatever you want. At the end of the day, she values him more than you. So what do you look like chasing after someone who doesn't care enough about you to work on the relationship, but she's busy entertaining someone else, especially someone that she likely told you bad things about, right? Because you wouldn't know he was toxic if she didn't tell you, but she's entertaining him. So you got to raise your standards as much as it hurts you. Stay away at all costs. Do not call or text her. Do not beg her to take you back. This is her loss. If she's with a toxic guy, that relationship is likely to fail sooner or later. You just got to let it happen. And then when she comes crawling back, apologizing and saying, "Hey, can we work on things?" then you get to decide if you even want to deal with her. Okay, let's see here. Where were we? Deontay Moore says, I've been practicing no contact with my ex for 3 weeks now, but we go on a trip in 2 weeks. I agreed with being friends with my ex, but I've been keeping my distance. What do you suggest I do now? Well, you shouldn't be friends with your ex. You shouldn't be going on trips after a breakup. Like why? Like why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? So yeah, you're already in the friend zone and you're only hurting yourself because you obviously still have feelings for her. You still care about her, and you're going on a trip with her where she's just gonna abuse you emotionally. You're gonna get your hopes up. You're gonna be thinking, oh well, if I'm nice to her, she's gonna like me, and then she's gonna waste your time. So that's a mistake. So if I were you, I would cancel. I'd say, hey, I thought about this whole friendship thing. You know what? It was a bad idea. I changed my mind. I only have interest in you romantically. And so, if you change your mind about us, let me know. Otherwise, have fun on your trip. That's what I would do if I were you. Whitney Janice says, no contact, focus on myself. He comes back within 2 weeks, no real change. Now the process starts all over again. How can I stop this? Feels like a trap. Well, at some point, like I said, this is as much about attracting your ex back as it's also about you choosing the path for your life and for your future. And so you got to be evaluating your ex and thinking like, "Hey, is he good enough for me?" Like, do I even want to entertain this person? Do we have the same values? Do we have the same goals? Does he desire me and only me? And if he doesn't, you need to walk and never look back. And you got to be comfortable with this. That's the hard part about no contact is your ex comes back, gives you breadcrumbs, entertains you for a couple of weeks, and you get your feelings riled up and you waste all of this energy on them and you end up in the same place 6 months from now. That's not the goal. I want your life to be so much better that when your ex comes back around, if they haven't changed, truthfully, you're able to look at them in an objective way and say, I'm gonna leave you in the past because you're not good for me. That's what I wish for you. Let's see here. Lisa. So I've been in no contact for 3 weeks and getting vibes from my ex. I get sad. Right ear burning and ringing. Could this be a twin flame or soulmate? No. 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 And I understand it. But um I think you're just obsessed with him, which is normal. Okay. Rejection breeds obsession. And typically, when someone dumps you, we tend to put them on a pedestal. And like now, it's like they're the best thing that ever happened to you. But in reality, they're likely not that great for you sometimes. Okay. So, breakups tend to happen for a reason. Doesn't mean that you can't fix things, but there's got to be an evolution. Like maybe you have some stuff to fix and they have some stuff to fix. So the sooner, if you're trying to fix things after a week and no one's changed, well, you're going to end up in the same place. So, um, yeah, that's what I think about that. Sheldon Rodriguez says, my ex and I broke up 3 months ago. I moved to Florida and she lives in Iowa. She says she misses me, but she pretty much said she doesn't want to go through the process of meeting another person. Well, talk is cheap. If she really has a high interest in you, she'd at least be willing to do FaceTime. So if she's contacting you, telling you how much she misses you, just say, hey, let's FaceTime. Let's FaceTime in a couple days. I'd love to see you. I want to see your face. All right. Assuming she's telling you all these things. All right. And see how the conversation goes over FaceTime because you guys don't live in the same city. So don't allow, because sometimes it just feels good to your ex to say all these romantic and sweet things. And then they feel better when you're telling them, I miss you, I love you. And so they just waste your time and get you all messed up emotionally. And as soon as you try to meet them in person or you demand more of their time, you say, hey, let's FaceTime. Now they're giving you excuses. So you got to watch out for that. Miley Junior says, I'm currently pregnant in my last week. My ex moved on quickly and left me separated for 3 months at a time. I blocked him and the new partner from social media. He's in a rebound relationship. I left because he didn't want to change. What's your question? Either way, if he walked out on you and your child, you can't, like, there's nothing you can do. You can't force him to be a good father. All right. So the one thing I would say is at least give him the opportunity to be there for his child if he wants to step up to the plate. So you shouldn't like block him or like, try to control things, provided he's trying to at least be there for his child. And it sucks that he's in a rebound, but again, we're all human and you know, we've all been given the right by our creator to be free. Like he's a free man. He gets to do whatever he wants to do. But he doesn't get to be in your life when he's misbehaving. But at least give him the chance, give him the opportunity to be a father, assuming he's interested in that. Uh let's see here. Farah says, I ended the relationship. I regretted it and asked him for a second chance. We haven't lost contact. He says he's not sure if he wants to come back with me. Any advice? Well, at the end of the day, he has every right to be skeptical. So at this point, you put yourself out there. He has every right to be skeptical, but you shouldn't be chasing him. You've kind of put your feelings on the table, and the ball is in his court. So I would just be waiting for him to reach out to you. You did the dumping, but you've gone, you've apologized, and you want to work it out, and he's unsure. So back off. Let him come to you. Let's see here. Sylvia says my ex just kicked me to the curb for a much younger chick. 31 years age difference. It all comes back down to freedom. People get to choose, and it sucks. I mean, it's very hurtful. I understand that, but you gotta don't let your ex's choices affect your perception of yourself. Like, you're still a cat. You're still an amazing person, and that's how you need to be acting. That's how you need to be moving in the world. And so, if he's gonna date someone new, well, his loss. That's how you got to think about it. Chances are he will regret doing that if you're a great person. And if you still feel like there's things about yourself you can work on, just focus on that. Keep making improvements, but give people the freedom to leave because it's their option, but you don't have to wait around for them. Let's see here. Brad. Brad, why does my ex reach out to me but not want to meet up? I asked her to meet up and she will just not answer. Then stop talking to her. Ignore her. Ignore her. Right? And I'm not a fan of ignoring your ex, but if you ask her out and she ignores you and she's done that multiple times, now the next time she texts you in a couple of days, just ignore her. She knows like why that's happening. And if she double texts and like, hey, like what's going on? Why aren't you responding? Because you're a waste of my time. Sometimes you gotta be brutally honest, okay? Because you can't keep chasing her, asking her to see you, and she's deliberately like leaving you on red. That's disrespectful. So if I were you, I would never text her, and the next time she texts you, I would ignore her. I would allow her to double text you, and if she asks you, "Oh, why are you acting different?" It's because you're wasting my time. I don't have time to waste. I'd rather spend my time with people who value and appreciate me. That's what I would do. If you haven't already, be sure to like the stream. I appreciate it. It really does mean a lot. And it costs you nothing. So hit the like button if you haven't already. Um, if you want to if you want to ask a question, if you want me to prioritize your question, send a super chat with your question and I will answer your question. All right. Cool. Let's see. Where were we? We are mm, da, 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 da. Umar. It'll be 20 days no contact tomorrow. I feel so hopeless, like she'll never be back. But the relationship was 5 years, so I have some hope. Well, you got to feel better about yourself. At the end of the day, you know, this isn't the end of the world, and you can't afford to act or think like you have no options because, Umar, the truth is, if she calls you tomorrow, all right, and you already feel hopeless about your prospects for the future, or, oh, she'll never come back, then you're likely going to do unattractive things. You're going to be too involved in her. You're going to be too desperate. You're going to be like over pursuing her. And when you do those things, she's going to get uncertain about you. She's going to be like, yeah, I don't really think we should be together. Okay. So you got to have at least a little bit of belief in yourself. Like, believe that you deserve to be with her or someone better. So I know it's hard to do this when you've been together for a long time and you're so wrapped up in her, but I promise you, when you start to act like you deserve to be there, she'll value you more. People don't want to be with second class options. People don't want to be with others that have no opportunities and no options. It's kind of like work, right? If you have two companies trying to hire you, typically you're going to get a higher offer because they're competing. I'm not telling you to go out and date, but at least carry yourself like you have options. Don't be so desperate, man. Tamatoy says, what if your ex only contacted you after you ignored her to tell you to delete all our photos together after 4 months? I would just ignore that. There's nothing to say to that. All right. And again, that sounds more like she's trying to get control. She's not happy you're not talking to her. And so she's trying to get a reaction. I would just ignore that. That's not a good faith conversation. So if she reaches out and says, hey, how are you doing? I wouldn't ignore that. Okay. But if she's calling you angry or trying to make you do something, like there's no need to respond to that. How can the ex narc deal with five different supplies, caught her cheating, and finally left her in October 2022? Your question is still not clear, but to me, if you're saying she's a narcissist and she cheated on you, like, what are you doing, bro? You should be moving on to bigger and better things. Okay. So some of this stuff, like, you have to fix your mindset a little bit. All right. You have to be more focused on what you want out of life. Okay. And you want to be with someone who at least can be loyal at a minimum. So to me, I wouldn't be giving someone a chance who was cheating on you. You've been in no contact and they're not even trying to call you, apologize, or anything. So, I would be more focused on my own personal development and growth. Doesn't sound like she cares much about you, man. Cynthia says, Coach, he texted me only him. I respond after an hour. I know that he loves me. I feel it, but I'm not making it easy to him. Well, if he loves you, he'd be asking to see you. So if he's texting you and he's not asking to see you, that's likely not love. That's just like breadcrumbs. So that's not good enough either. Kimberly says, my ex wants his cake and to eat it too. The no contact is hard when we have kids because he gets the advantage of still seeing me. Well, you can't control that. You can't control everything. Okay. So you gotta let go. You gotta be like water, like Bruce Lee says. You gotta be like water. You gotta be circulating. You have to kind of allow certain things to be. Okay. So him seeing you, you can't control that, but him getting your energy, that's a different story. Because you don't have to give him your energy at all. All right. Where are we? Mm-mm-mm. Uh, Brandy. Brandy says, I've been in no contact for 16 days. He texted on the 8th asking how I was doing. I responded 5 hours later, just said I was blessed. 5 hours later, he texted a smiley face. I didn't respond. Did I do the right thing? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's good. I wouldn't have done anything differently. Nick says, hey, coach, love your videos, calling from Phoenix, but heading to Houston in the morning. Well, shout out to you, man. Have fun in Houston. Does no contact work for divorce with kids? Yes, it does. What if they won't stop harassing me? Block them. Pick up that phone, look them up, and block. Sometimes you gotta proactively block people that won't allow you have your peace. So, I would block them if they're harassing you. And you probably don't want to be with someone harassing you, right? Okay, been in no contact for a month. Ex reached out of nowhere asking how I am, nothing more. I responded, then asked her, let's meet. when can I see you? And she blanked my message, so confused. Well, that's fine. Well, and sometimes it's good to ask the let's get together. I would do it over like two to three texts. Like you kind of see, feel her out a little bit more. But it's good to ask that question because it tells you where she's at. So if she's blanking you, aka not responding, well, it tells you that she's not ready in this moment to get together, right? And so it tells you her intentions. Like she might be curious, she might have a little bit of interest, but she doesn't miss you enough yet. But I would keep that in mind. Like, don't forget that, because next time she contacts you, I would ask her one more time. That's it. That's it. Maximum of two times. If she doesn't accept, if she ignores you after that, I would be extremely short with her, depending on the situation, or sometimes just ignore her because she's wasting your time. Let's see here. Mad Madu. I reached out and apologized for calling his family and parole officer after finding out he had cheated. Sorry. With many women and used me for money. I'm still in very much pain. And I'm guessing you're saying I don't know how to get out of it. Well, you know, sometimes you got to be careful of what you're apologizing for. He's the one that was cheated on you. He was the one that was using you. You should be pulling away completely. And if there's any chance of fixing things, he should be the one coming to you. All right. Because you didn't make him cheat. You didn't make him use and abuse you. So you do all that and you're still the one crawling back and begging and apologizing. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Stay away. Let's see here. Uh, what about when you're the rebound? What's your question exactly? So, are you saying you're the rebound? You got dumped. He went back to his ex. Well, obviously, if you're the rebound, that person likely has a stronger connection with whoever they left. So, I mean, you can do no contact. That's the best and only option you have. Like someone walks away from you, you walk away from them, but they likely have a stronger connection with the person before you. Okay, so it's not really much you can do about that. What is your ex? What if your ex was just using me as a rebound? Okay, so I kind of answered that. Yeah, because sometimes you're the rebound, and a lot of times they'll end up leaving you. Tanya, hello. Can you flip the friend zone to your advantage? No. Stop being friends. Stop sacrificing your own dignity and self respect because you're hoping that by taking the back door, you can get them back. All right. So you're trying to be their friend when you know the whole time you have ulterior motives. You're actually in love with them. Don't accept friendship if you're in love with someone. Okay. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. Let's see here. Taj D. My ex stayed over my house 3 times in 1.5 years. Okay. I stayed at his house 150 times. I spoke to him about it so many times, but he still wouldn't meet me halfway. He came back after a month, but then disappeared. Well, it doesn't sound like he's very much invested in you at all. But what's your question? Cold Bean says, girl is long distance, saw her for 3 months. She invited me to party and canceled. She removed me off social media before she stopped talking to me. Why? No contact 3 months now. She will be in my area soon. Well, it doesn't matter if she's going to be in your area if she doesn't care about you. She ghosted you. She removed you on social media, invited you somewhere, flaked on you, and ghosted you. Why would you chase someone like why does it even matter she's going to be in your area? She doesn't care about you. So unless she picks up the phone and calls, like you, this is just one of those casualties of dating. As much as it hurts, but truthfully, you got to be noticing how people are treating you. And keep in mind, you train people how to treat you. So the more BS you accept and tolerate, the more of it you're going to get. So if there's any chance of even having a healthy relationship with this girl, you must stay away. Like you have no choice. If she's not the one that comes back to you, she will do this again. She will disrespect you, she will mistreat you, she will ghost you and go date some other guy. So at least behave like you have self-respect and you're not going to budge unless she reaches out to you. That's what I would do if I were you. If you haven't already, like the stream, friendly reminder. If you have not already, make sure you like the stream. Um, if you want to ask a question, send a super chat donation. I will prioritize the super chat questions first. Okay, let's see here. All right, let us answer the topic of the day. Okay, what if no contact is not working on your ex? What should you do? Well, big picture, I always say this is like at the end of the day, relationship takes two. Okay. You want someone who's equally as invested or at least cares about you enough to notice your absence. Okay. People who really do care about you or who have a place in their heart for you and you're important, no matter what happens, when you distance yourself, they notice. Okay, so either one of two things. If your ex is not reacting to no contact, either one, it just hasn't been long enough yet, and you just got to wait it out a little bit longer. Or two, they do not care about you, which is good information to know. But either way, you do not sacrifice your dignity and self respect by constantly trying to pull someone into a relationship that doesn't want to be there because you will have a terrible, low quality relationship. If someone's not equally invested, if someone doesn't really care about you, this is when you're constantly calling them, oh, how come you never say you love me? How come you never buy me gifts or flowers? Or how come you never take me on dates? It's going to be extremely low effort. So it's that desire and that passion that makes people want to put in effort. And it's also the same desire and passion that makes them reach out to you when you're distant because they feel your absence. Your absence causes them pain and they cannot handle it. Okay. So even if they got complacent, even if they forgot your place in their life, when you go no contact, they will remember if they care about you. So there you go. Let's get to the next question here. Let's see. Uh Nikki says, been in no contact 3 months. Ex texts me he's sorry. Then 3 weeks later says he needs to heal. Then says pray for him a week ago. And should I do? I haven't said anything to him. Well, again, this is someone who's indecisive about you. And you probably gave him a little more attention than you should have, which is okay. But again, that's why your ex comes back and then they disappear. They come back, they feel comfortable, they feel the certainty. They feel like, oh yeah, she hasn't moved on. She's still obsessed with me, and then they back away. So don't fall for that. Okay. You always want to be moving slowly. You always want to be slowly escalating. You want to be moving slower than your ex. And you never want to be forcing things. Okay. But thank you for your question. Uh Lady Shantae with the super chat says, I was crushed when the guy that I was dating told me he didn't want me. didn't want to date me, and didn't want a relationship. Why would he call after 3 weeks of no contact? Well, likely because he noticed the absence, right? He noticed the distance. He noticed that you pulled away, but it doesn't mean his intentions have changed. So if someone spells their intentions out that clearly, them contacting you doesn't mean anything unless they explicitly express like a change in ideology, which is likely not going to happen in a week or 2 weeks or even a couple of months. So he's coming back likely just for the benefit. So whether it's the attention you were giving him, or you guys were hooking up, or you're making him feel special, that's why he's calling you. So ultimately, you got to be focused on, what do you want? What outcome do you want? Do you want a relationship? Do you want to be married? Do you want the white picket fence? And if that's what you want, this is likely not your guy. Because I promise you, his ideology has not changed. Right. But he probably missed you and he's like, okay, well, let me call her and see if I can get her over again. Don't waste your time. Okay. But thank you for the super chat and thank you for your question. Jason says, my people who are going through it, it's important that you know if you love a person for the idea or what could have been. Yeah, like, breakups are hard. So, a lot of times people internalize the issues in the relationship. You take on all of the blame. Now you're at fault for everything. Your ex is perfect. And and you feel guilty. And you would do anything to fix things with this person, but understand, just because you got rejected does not mean that this relationship is necessarily the perfect one to be in. It might be, but I want you to get to a place where you're coming from a place of abundance. Like, you're open to being with them, but you don't need to be with them. You don't have to. This doesn't have to work out. Okay? Because if you can shift that perspective, a lot of times you'll be able to carry yourself in the right way. You'll be able to have the conversations without being attached. Okay? Because once you're attached and your ex feels like you need them, that's when they start pushing you around, mistreating you, disrespecting you, and so on. So there you go. I'd be very cautious about that. Sunrise with the super chat. He said he is still convinced we are for each other, but doesn't want to try fast with doubts still in his head and hope time will bring us together. Again, these are the nice things your ex says to get you to accept the breakup. These are the things they say so that you allow them to walk out of the room. Okay. So when they have that tough conversation with you and they got their stuff packed and they're trying to leave and you're asking them for answers, why is this happening? Well, they got to say something nice so you'll let them get away. They want the breakup to be as smooth as possible. It's a difficult conversation. It's like firing someone at a job. All right. And that's usually why they have HR whenever they want to fire people, because it's a difficult conversation. People, like, you never know how people are going to react. So your ex does the same thing. The more you push them for answers, the more you ask about, why is this happening? Can we work on it? They say things like, I still love you. I just need time. We'll see what happens in the future. If they loved you enough, they would stay. They would stay and fight for the relationship with you. So don't listen to all that stuff. Even, matter of fact, the last video I made, I said, don't ask for closure, because a lot of times the things your ex tells you when they're leaving is just, it's not the real truth. And I'm not saying they're liars or they're trying to lie to you, but they're trying to make the breakup as easy as possible. So their incentive is really to make the conversation easy so they can leave. So yeah, there you go. But thank you for the super chat and thank you for your question. Marcos with the super chat says, I live with my ex and she broke up with me a few weeks ago and started dating a man that she has cheated on me before. We have 3 kids together, so I don't know what to do. Well, you have no self respect, likely. Okay. Now, this is a little bit like tricky because of the kids, and I understand this, but chances are you didn't really hold her accountable for the cheating. Because if someone cheats on you, I'm not saying that you can never get over cheating, but there's got to be a path to fixing things. Maybe there's therapy. Like, she's really got to earn her place back in your life, because how can you build a relationship with a disloyal person? Right? So my guess is she cheated on you, you just swept it under the rug and you just said, "Oh, it's okay." Because the fact that she does it again with the same person, even though you have kids together, shows she does not respect you at all. Because even if she was going to leave the relationship, she would have ended it first and then gone to be with this guy. But essentially, she cheated you again and went back to the same guy. She does not respect you because she knows she's going to see you often because you have three kids together, but she's not even worried about that. She doesn't care about your opinion. So when you're saying, "I don't know what to do," you're likely still too invested. I understand you have kids. I get that. So it's difficult, it's tricky, but you want a loyal person. And sometimes you have to be willing to walk away even when there's children involved, especially when they're not putting in any effort, they're not showing any remorse, they're not showing any respect for you. Why should you be chasing her? Why? That's a no, bro. That's a no, my friend. Let's see here. Da, da, da. But thank you for the super chat and thank you for your question. If you haven't already, hit the like button. I appreciate it. It costs you nothing. We got about we got about 13 minutes left, and we still got a lot of questions. So I know I won't get to all the questions, but if you want to skip the line, send a super chat. I will prioritize your question, or you can just hang out. A lot, some questions are similar. So, you know, if you stick around, I might still answer a question that applies to you. So there you go. Let's see here. Brian Fiver says, "Hey, coach, me and my ex girlfriend hooked up 2 days, and now we haven't reached out to each other. Did I mess something up?" Well, it depends a lot on what was going on, like in those 2 days where you guys hooked up. What were you saying? What are the things that you were doing? But if you didn't give the impression like you're trying to fix things, then you probably did things right. The fact that you hooked up twice, that's a good sign. All you got to do is wait. Just wait for her to reach out to you again. Be patient, because sometimes it's just a test. Okay? Because when you start no contact, you're changing the old behavior, the neediness, the chasing, the begging. So a lot of times your ex will test you. So now you guys have hooked up. She's like, "Huh, let me see if he's going to chase me now." And you're likely on the verge. You probably wanted to chase her. So I'm glad you asked that question. Wait, do nothing. She needs to be the one escalating things forward. So wait for her to reach out to you. Okay. Lady Shantae with Super Chat says, "He told me we could not be together because I blocked him on social media after he walked out on me during a movie night for no reason and wouldn't answer my calls. Is that a real reason not to be together?" No, that's not a real reason not to be together. So again, these are things your ex says when, they've likely already had enough of the relationship. And the fact that you're calling someone multiple times when they're ignoring you tells me there is some neediness in that. Okay. Because you got to think about communication like a game of tennis. So you hit the ball over the net, you say, "Hey, how are you doing?" You call someone, you wait for them to get back to you. Doesn't matter who it is. So calling 10 times or 20 times is a sign of neediness and insecurity. And it's very unattractive to both men and women. Okay, so that's not the reason for the breakup. It's likely you've been turning him off because you're way more invested in him than he's invested in you. and you're chasing him, and you're likely not giving him any space, and so on. Okay. But thank you for your question. Megan with Super Chat says, my ex broke up with me 12 days ago, mainly because of his mental health. Mhm. All right. We were fighting a lot, but he said the breakup wasn't my fault. And I was a great girlfriend. I'm going no contact. Will he come back? Again, this is like, oh, you're great. You're amazing. No. Okay. That's not really how he feels. And if you guys were fighting all the time, obviously there's underlying issues, right? There's reasons why you guys were fighting and arguing all the time. And so, um, he likely doesn't feel like the relationship was so great. If he thought you were so amazing, he wouldn't dump you. Okay. And I'm not saying that you're not. I'm just saying the words he's telling you is likely not how he feels, but that's okay. You do need to go no contact. It's only been 12 days. It's not even been 2 weeks. So be patient. I know you're anxious. I know you're fearful, but you got to sit with the pain and at least allow your ex to miss you. Okay. Andrew H. with the super chat question. Hey, coach, I went no contact when my ex monkey branched, but got emotional and threatened the dude twice by text. Really? Okay, how did that work out for you? Did I ruin my chances of getting back? Well, you definitely, that's a huge mess up, right? There's tiers of things you shouldn't do, like even watching your story, or watching your ex's story, contacting them, contacting their family. But contacting the rebound and threatening them, it's probably like at the top of the list of things not to do. That's extremely unattractive. Very, very unattractive. Okay, so yeah, did you ruin your chances? Remains to be seen. You gotta wait and see what happens, but at least stop, like just stop. And I gotta say this, that comes from a place of desperation, right? She dumped you for someone else, and you're so needy and insecure that you can't even have the self-respect to say, hey, she lost out on a good one. And I know you were emotional, but I got to be real with you, okay? And understand this is coming from a place of love. I'm not trying to put you down or anything, but again, that's coming from a place of neediness, insecurity, thinking that she's better than you, and so you have to go threaten another guy. That's not manly. Okay? So, yeah, never reach out to her ever again. Wait for her to reach out to you. If she doesn't, it's over. We've been in no contact for 4 weeks. I haven't answered the one time he called. Could he grow to be attracted to me again? Yes, but stop ignoring your ex. I tell you, no contact is not a game. If your ex calls you or they text you, pick up the phone, see what they have to say. A lot of times they might not be ready to get back together in the moment, but that's a sign of interest. So don't ignore that. Okay, like no contact has a lot to do with timing. So you gotta strike while the iron is hot. So if they're showing interest, they pick up the phone, scroll, find your name, call you. All of those things are happening for a reason. So they're moving in the right direction, but you're ignoring them. Why? So yes, he can go attracted to you again. It's only been a month. It hasn't been that long. Anyway, next question is from Leo. Leo says, "Hello, Coach. Greetings from Chile. I hope you can give me some advice, bro. I broke up with my ex 2 months ago, avoiding attachment because she told me she wasn't ready for a relationship. Well, what's your question for me?" Jocelyn says, after 6 years of waiting and being hidden in the darkness, my ex picked the other woman. She even pushed me to the ground. Yeah, he doesn't respect you. You don't spend 6 years of your life waiting for a guy to choose you. Anyone or a woman, whoever. Like if someone is not sure about you and they keep you on ice, like it's one thing, to get married or to get proposed to. But if someone's not even willing to say you're my girlfriend after 6 years, what are you doing? You got to have enough self respect to say, no, I deserve more. People will always treat you consistently with how you believe yourself to be, whether or not that belief is true. So if you're actually, let's just use numbers to make it easy. If you're a 10 out of 10, but you consistently act like a 2 out of 10, eventually people will treat you like a 2 out of 10, because that's how you carry yourself. That you act like that's what you deserve and that's what you're going to get. So, yeah, I would be finding someone else who's as passionate about you. Uh can you call someone who come on. Can you call someone who be in relationship with you for 6 months an ex? Oh, okay. So with someone who's in a relationship with you for 6 months and you break up, is that your ex? Yes. If you had the title, if you're in a relationship for 2 months, 3 months, that's your ex. Anyway, Will says, me and my ex broke up 5 months ago and we have 2 kids and we're together for 17 years. She just broke up with her ex-boyfriend. She said she loves me but not ready to date me maybe in the future. That's confusing. Me and my ex broke up 5 months ago. And then he said she just broke up with her ex. So did she get in a rebound after you guys broke up? Either way, it sounds like a lot. Like she probably has not healed from the relationship. And she hasn't healed from the relationship. So I wouldn't be forcing things. Even though you have 2 kids together, I would give her some time to heal. Because she broke up with you, it sounds like, from what I read. And inside of 5 months, dated her ex and broke up with him. She ain't ready, bro. Uh Lady Shantae, should I wait for him to call since I ignored him the first time? Yeah, you can wait for him to call again. But don't ignore him the second time. Okay? If he cares enough, he'll at least try twice. But don't ignore him the second time. But to me, based on what you were saying before, I don't think he's that into you, honestly. Let's see here. Uh, Someone said it would be interesting to hear your thoughts after hearing the entire situation. If you want my help, if you want to talk about your situation, because I understand like it's hard to give me all the facts and the background in a couple of lines of questions. Book a coaching call. If you really need to talk, book a coaching call and we can talk about your situation. I'll say this though. A lot of the questions or some of the questions that I get, I've made videos about them. Okay, so you if you really want to help, you have to help yourself. I get so many people that send me emails and paragraphs, and like you're not willing to pay for a coaching call, fine. You're not willing to join the live sessions and ask your questions. And a lot of times you're asking me questions of things that I've already made videos about. You have to help yourself as well. Okay. So spend the 10 minutes, an hour, scroll through the videos. And then that way, if you really, really have to talk, like you've watched all the videos and you're like, no, like, I can't find any answers, then you can book a coaching call. I understand like it's not cheap, but um it's not meant to be because literally I'm like super busy and I love to help people with their situations, but try to watch the videos. They're free, or join the live sessions and then you can ask your question. Okay. There you go. All right. So Sunrise says he's still texting me, but I ignored his last message today because it's taking me nowhere. He already said he can't come back fast until his head is clear. Yeah, stop talking to him all the time. That's just he's breadcrumbing you. He's enjoying the attention and validation he's getting from you, but he's non-committal. So yeah, I agree. I wouldn't like after a certain point you just set a boundary and said, "Hey, I don't want to be friends. So stop texting me. If you don't want to date me, that's fine. Stop contacting me all the time." Let's see here. Um Okay, we're gonna do a couple more questions. If you already asked a question, I'm like skipping over the people who've asked so I can answer people who I haven't answered a question from. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do a couple more questions and we're gonna call it a day. Let's see here. Katie. Hi, coach. I met with you about 3 weeks ago. Katie in New York. X is moving towards me. Thank you. Awesome. It's good to hear. Happy for you. A lot of times you just gotta be patient. If they care enough, they'll start moving towards you. You just gotta like slow and steady. Slow and steady. All right. Let's see. Colbster says, I happened to be in the same environment first before my ex, and I found out that she didn't want to be a part of that environment because I was there. Okay. Because almost a month and a half no contact. What's your question? So you ran into your ex in public and you heard she didn't want to, like, your ex is a free person. If she doesn't want to be, like, let's say you run into your ex at a bar and she leaves, that's her business. That's okay. It's a free world. It doesn't mean you have to leave public spaces because your ex is in the room, right? But she gets to choose to do that. That's fine. Don't never overreact to the little things your ex is doing. Okay. Tiffany says, I'm really close with my ex's mom. There is a chance I could run into him at her house one of these times. When that happens, should I ice him or be fake unbothered? Well, it's not a game. You're still playing games. So my question to you is, we're like, what type of friendship do you have with his mom? If you knew for a fact that you will never get back together with him and your ex is going to meet and marry someone new, would you still be friends with his mom? If the answer is no, then you need to cut off that relationship or at least back off significantly to where you're not just showing up at her house at random times. Because a lot, some people, like, you maintain relationship with your ex's families because you still have the hopes of fixing things. So be brutally honest with yourself. If you knew for sure your ex was going to meet another woman, fall in love with her, and marry her in the next 6 months, would you still be friends with his mom and go into her house and hanging out? If the answer is no, then you need to back away. Okay. Let's see here. After 20 plus years of marriage, he had an affair and is with the girl. We have children, but he won't let me be. Do I move on? I do love him. Well, it doesn't sound like you have an option for a relationship when he's with someone else. So if he's texting you, just say, "Hey, that's disrespectful to your relationship." I know because you were together for 20 years, you probably feel a sense of ownership. So you don't feel like, well, you're like, well, he knew me first, and but he's chosen to be with that person. So you got to create some separation, even though there's kids. You got to say, hey, like, that's disrespectful to your new relationship. So stop contacting me unless that's over. Okay. So yeah, that sucks, but there you go. He has a severe heart condition requiring surgery, and he told me that he was focused on his health versus being with a woman. Could this be valid? You're in a state of fear, anxiety, and you're trying to force things. Okay. If he, like, what better time than to be around people that love you than when you have a heart condition? All right. His feelings are not there, and you're asking all kind of questions because you're trying to find a reason to chase him. That's the reality. You're in a place of complete fear and you don't want to accept that this man has a very low interest for you. The reason why you're so anxious is because you have to do all the work in the relationship. That's why he's not showing up for you. And if you continue to do so, you're going to continue to suffer. When you don't accept reality as it is, and you don't accept people for who they are and how they're showing up, you will suffer because you're trying to change reality. That's like getting mad at the sun for shining, at the rain for raining, or at grass for being green. You can't control that. Okay, so he's not showing up for you. You need to distance yourself. I don't care what excuse he gave you. Like if someone is extremely sick like that, and they need help, they need family, they need people that love them. Anyway, thank you all for being here. We're gonna call it a night. Thank you all for the questions. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure to chit chat. Okay, so if you want to talk about your situation, book a coaching call. You can click if you click any of my videos, the first link in description. You can book a coaching call. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, be sure to like the stream. It really does mean a lot. It helps get this content out to people who need it. So I appreciate you for doing so. And thank you again for being here in the live session. Okay. We will catch you next time. All right. Peace. Later.